honestly, all I can say is wow. I am absolutely marveled at Gradey Dick's development, his improvement in all aspects of his game right now. And it's been happening this entire season, but it feels like week by week, Gradey Dick is adding new things to his game. And outside of Dick and maybe a couple other players, this game was an absolute travesty of a basketball performance for the Toronto Raptors. But still, even with one of the most egregiously bad offensive showings from the rest of the squad out there in tonight's game, this was still an exciting watch with Gradey Dick's just ability to honestly just continue to shock me. Continue to shock Toronto Raptors fans, NBA fans with the level of performance that he is showing out there right now. Because frankly, I'm going straight into it because Gradey Dick, this man is off the dribble, letting it fly, these crazy high arc threes that are just swishing straight down in the basket. Coming off of curl cuts, driving the lane, doing dump offs, and then a ridiculous Bruno Fernando dunk. That is a crazy moment to see. We get a little second look at that here now. But Gradey Dick off the dribble. Look at that dribble. Look at that crossover hesitation into that mid-range jump shot there at this point. Gradey Dick, contest 3 feet behind the three-point line. It does not matter. And again, you can see this here, right? AJ Green, intense defense on him, a nice little double cross and getting straight to the basket. I mean, Gradey Dick in this game, put up some ridiculous stats out there for this Raptors squad. Had 32 points, 4-10 shooting from the three-point line. A lot of those misses came at the end, and the Bucks were completely locked in on him on the second half. But the 7-20 shooting, that's a lot that came in the second half with the contested stuff. But 32 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 14-16 from the free throw line. Because frankly, again, this is one thing I want to bring up because Gradey Dick has that label as, hey, he's just a shooter. He's just a guy that can, let it fly from the three-point line, and, he does this, whatever. Gradey Dick, the bag on this man, the handles, the just ridiculous performance we saw from him, shake and bacon defenders, driving the basket, getting the paint. This, in what world? Like, I think, I don't bet, I'm not a betting guy, but, like, I would have bet my life savings on Gradey Dick never having a 16 free throw game last season, right? That's a fair bet. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he had a crazy free throw game last year, but like, this was just an all out, like, they could not stay in front of Gradey Dick, and him as a slasher, him being at that type of level of, game out there, games that Jim, cooking up this team, that is just something to behold. It's something to witness from Gradey Dick, and I don't know, like, again, I know a lot of people are disappointed now the performances, and the last couple games have been a lot worse than the earlier performances for the Toronto Raptors, but just storylines like this continue to keep me engaged, continue to keep me excited about this Toronto Raptors team not winning these games, still losing games, but, coming out here and just doing their thing. Because, again, we know the direction of the squad right now, and it's been a little bit clear. The Cooper flag, right? The capture the flag, that's the mission, that's the quest, that's the journey for this Toronto Raptors team right now, but I don't know. Gradey Dick's doing stuff like this, man. I'll watch. I'll gladly watch. I'll be honest. Last season, again, I it's my job to watch Raptors games and rant about them following. So I'd be watching the games, but I'm there on my phone. I'm there on my computer doing different stuff while the game is happening there in the background. From definitely March and April last season, and that's how these tanking seasons go. That's how these kind of just a tough watch, but. Genuinely, Gradey Dick single-handedly kept this game watchable for me tonight. Maybe on top of it, you can take a look at Ochai Agbaji, who had a couple shots down the stretch, still only had 8 points in this one. Jakob Poeltl hustling on the defensive end, had a couple blocks, a nice block out there on Giannis, but 13, 8, 3 steals, 2 blocks for Jakob Poeltl. But again, outside of those guys, this game was a complete mess. It was a rough showing, but that's just kind of how things go. And Chris Boucher, I want to give credit to Chris Boucher. Knocked down a couple threes, a couple tough threes as well. So that's all that. And Jameson Bell had a couple points in the paint there. But again, I know another storyline in this one because I don't want to just be amped up about a pretty ugly loss. Right, we had 87 points in 2024. That's just unheard of, it feels like, in the modern NBA. The Bucks had 99 themselves. There's a lot of just rando guys out there in this Milwaukee Bucks team, which is crazy to see. And we'll get into Gary Trent Jr., who played 6 minutes in this one. But, I want to stay to the Raptors because, again, I know a large topic of discussion, a large narrative is going to be on RJ Barrett and his poor performances in recent games. But again, RJ Barrett has been so good for a majority of this season coming into this year, dealt with an injury starting off. And now you could see the defenses are just completely isolated and locked in on RJ Barrett. They usually switch gears a little bit to Gradey Dick in the middle of the game. Gradey Dick's been getting a little bit more of a focus lately. But with IQ now out for a long period of time, we'll have a full video breaking down his injury situation tomorrow. Not an ugly update there, but Scottie Barnes, of course, out. Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, Jakob Poeltl, all these guys. Like, there's not a lot of other options that team for Gradey Dick and RJ Barrett to really lean on, rely upon to create their own shots, to create their own scoring. And now out there on the road, on this type of road trip, again, RJ Barrett has been phenomenal. I don't want to take anything away from the season that he's had, but it's still kind of, he's learning to be that top tier, isolation scorer for this Raptors team, to be that top guy while, Scottie Barnes and Immanuel Quickley are out of the lineup. So again, I'm not worried about Gradey Dick's, certainly not, but RJ Barrett's development or things like that there. But these are all learning experiences. These are all games to get your rhythm and get a feel for playing against, for as bad as the Milwaukee Bucks have been, a long, wiry, athletic defensive squad that's locked in. And honestly, a lot of this just looked like Gradey Dick or RJ. My brain is on Gradey Dick right now, but RJ Barrett was like self-enforced, a game that you don't usually see. Like, he had 5 turnovers, 4 really early on in this game. Was dribbling the ball of his foot. He had a couple just crazy, like, DHOs, like, balls passed to him, like, right in his hands, and then just kind of fumbled, like, struggling to catch the basketball. So maybe he's sick, maybe he's just a little bit out of rhythm. Anyone that's played basketball knows you can just have a week or so here or there where you're just completely kind of cooked, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much effort you put in. Things kind of get messy. But I don't know, I'm just hopeful RJ Barrett gets back into the comfortability that we've seen, at the start of the season. But it wasn't just him. Like, the loss wasn't just on RJ Barrett by any stretch of the imagination. Like, Davion Mitchell needs to, if he's going to be the starting PG, needs to have more than 1 point. He had 8 assists, 4 rebounds, an absolutely nasty steal on it. I want to say it was Ryan Rollins, but one of the guards out there from the Milwaukee Bucks, which was great to see. The Raptors made a little run there in the middle of this game to tie it up, but obviously it didn't continue. I think it was an early third, but basically, Davion Mitchell, you gotta have more of an impact there. And Jamal Shead, again, I've been a self-proclaimed my love for Jamal Shead. He's going to be able to knock down those shots because, again, the lack of jump shots starting to catch up with him. The rookie wall is sort of coming into place for Jamal Shead because, again, the teams are figuring out the scouting report, and he's taken, like, his handle is so tight. He is so athletic. He is so, able to get to his spots. But a couple times in this game, you see him, just create that space in the mid-range jump shot area, and he's just hesitant to shoot it. He creates that separation, and then, because he's not as confident in his jump shot, it's not there yet. He's just not taking those shots, and he's just passing it off. And that's just something that's tough to go. But I'm still very bullish on Jamal Shead. Mobo, again, still a similar rhythm, all that type of stuff. Fernando, again, that dunk that he had was absolutely ferocious and nasty. And Jameson Battle didn't take any threes tonight, but definitely got into the lane and did a couple things in the minutes and opportunities that he's got. But that's the Toronto Raptors. Again, the only takeaway you really need is Gradey Dick is a phenomenal basketball player. That's kind of the takeaway. But I do want to take a look, because we made a couple videos on him recently. Gary Trent Jr., the fall of this man has... I feel really bad. I feel really bad for this dude because, again, he was a fan favorite for the Toronto Raptors for stretches. I know he could be frustrating with his inconsistencies and things like that, but Gary Trent Jr., man, just always embraced Toronto. And I know he left for cheaper money and stuff, but he's just looking for an opportunity. And on paper, right, like, they're running out here AJ Green, who's just yeeting up 3-point shots every time he catches it. Took 14 threes in this game, which is absolutely ridiculous. But, there's a lot of no-names out there in the Milwaukee Bucks. And in theory, playing alongside of Giannis should get him more looks, get him more threes. But he's just not been able to knock down his open shots from Milwaukee, and essentially played him out of the rotation. Like, he's getting 6 minutes in a very, not competitive game against the Toronto Raptors. And that's, I think, Doc Rivers got to play Gary Trent Jr. a little bit more in a game like this, especially a little revenge game against your former team. I know they're trying to do different rotations and stuff, but I mean, I guess they're desperate for losses and things like that. But still, this is a game. Raptors always, they get me on Mitchell. They're giving the ball to Davion Mitchell against the Sacramento Kings. That's something that they do, right? So I'm surprised that the Bucks didn't do a little bit more for Gary Trent Jr. to try to get him going against his former team, but that is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about this Raptors game. Again, Gradey Dick, phenomenal. Need to find an animation or something to cook up specifically for Gradey Dick. But anyways, you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.